Hello guys, Sandy Ingram here. Welcome. In this video, we will compare Germany's currency revaluation after World War II to Iraq's currency adjustments after the 2003 invasion. There is a significant difference between Germany's recovery, which took 5 years, and Iraq's recovery, which we are still waiting on 20 years later. I have left Argentina and will publish a video about how Argentina eliminated its fiscal deficit for the first time in 123 years. It was an amazing experience to witness a country overcoming its debt. Yes, you never know how much your groceries will cost from day to day, but because I rent using US sites like Airbnb, who are paid directly by my US retirement accounts, I do not have to worry about the monthly currency rates. There is a lot to be said about Argentina. From the Nazis moving there after World War II to its modern day economic struggle.
After World War II, Germany's currency faced a significant crisis. The war had devastated the country's economy, leading to hyperinflation and the collapse of the Reichsmark, which had been Germany's currency during the war. The economic instability was compounded by shortages of goods, a black market fueled by bartering, and widespread poverty. In 1948, 3 years after the war, the countries overseeing post-war Germany introduced a new currency, the Deutsche Mark, as part of a broader economic reform to address the shortage of goods and the black market. The reform aimed to stabilize the economy, curb inflation, and restore confidence in the monetary system. The introduction of the Deutsche Mark was paired with strict price controls and efforts to rebuild the economy through industrial production. This new currency helped eliminate the black market and incentivized people to engage in legitimate economic activities. The currency reform is often credited with laying the groundwork for Germany's economic recovery, later referred to as the Wirtschaftswunder or economic miracle, during the 1950s. This transformation turned West Germany into one of the leading economies in Europe, demonstrating the critical role currency reform played in its post-war rebuilding. After the 2003 invasion of Iraq, the country's currency, the Iraqi dinar, underwent a major transformation. Before the invasion, the dinar had suffered from instability due to years of sanctions and economic mismanagement under Saddam Hussein's regime. Inflation was rampant, and a lack of trust in the government meant that many Iraqis used US dollars for transactions instead of the local currency. Following the fall of Saddam's government, the Coalition Provisional Authority introduced a new version of the Iraqi dinar in 2003 to stabilize the economy and restore confidence. The old currency, which featured Saddam Hussein's image, was replaced with new banknotes that incorporated better security features to prevent counterfeiting. The transition was smooth, with Iraqis exchanging their old dinars for the new ones at a 1-to-1 ratio. This currency reform was an essential step in rebuilding Iraq's financial system. While the new dinar did stabilize initially, the country's ongoing challenges, such as political instability, corruption, and conflict, have made it difficult for the currency to achieve long-term strength. Like post-war Germany, Iraq's currency reform was crucial, but Iraq's recovery has been slower due to persistent instability and economic dependence on oil. Germany's currency, the Deutsche Mark, began to significantly increase in value in 1948, following its introduction as part of the post-World War II currency reform. This reform replaced the worthless Reichsmark and stabilized the economy. However, the real boost to the Deutsche Mark's value and purchasing power came in the following decade, during the 1950s, as West Germany experienced the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic miracle. The Deutsche Mark's strength was tied to West Germany's rapid industrial recovery, strong export performance, and prudent monetary policies. By the mid-1950s, the Deutsche Mark was considered one of the most stable and valuable currencies globally, reflecting Germany's economic resurgence. However, there is something else that Germany did that Iraq has not accomplished. Germany disconnected from anything and everything concerning World War II or the previous German leader. When Sandy lived in Germany, she said that to her knowledge, neither World War II nor Hitler was discussed in the school system. The German people showed a remarkable and consistent desire to assimilate with the world. Iraq has not shown this level of commitment as a whole, mostly because of differences in religious beliefs. There is another major difference between Germany and Iraq's response to war. Germany faced significant restrictions after World War II, though they were not termed sanctions in the modern sense but rather punitive measures and controls imposed by the Allied powers. These restrictions were part of the post-war agreements to ensure that Germany could not pose a military threat again. The key measures for the punitive measures and controls included the following. Military restrictions. Under the Potsdam Agreement in 1945, Germany was demilitarized. Its military forces were disbanded, and the production of weapons and military equipment was prohibited. Economic controls. Germany's economy was placed under strict Allied supervision. Industries related to military production were dismantled, and limits were placed on industrial output. Key resources like coal and steel were tightly controlled, and some were directed to reparations for war-torn Allied countries. Reparations. Germany was required to pay reparations to Allied nations, including the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and France. These reparations were paid in the form of goods, resources, and forced labor. Trade restrictions. Initially, Germany's international trade was heavily restricted, limiting its ability to engage in global economic activities. This was intended to prevent rapid reindustrialization that could support militarization. Territorial losses. Germany lost significant territory, including areas to Poland and the Soviet Union. These territorial changes resulted in economic losses and the displacement of millions of Germans. Despite these measures, as the Cold War developed, the Allies, especially the United States, shifted their approach towards supporting West Germany's recovery. As Sandy would say, let me repeat that. The United States shifted their approach towards supporting West Germany's recovery. This shift was formalized in initiatives like the Marshall Plan in 1948, which provided financial aid to rebuild the economies of Western Europe, including West Germany, and ultimately helped reintegrate Germany into the global economy. By the 1950s, many of the most restrictive economic measures on West Germany had been lifted, allowing for its remarkable economic recovery. The war ended in 1945, and by 1950, Germany was well on its way to financial recovery. Now, people all over the world are driving Mercedes-Benz.